Hello and welcome to FPL Malvo. My name is Andy and I've got my team selection video ahead of Game Week 31 for you today. So we'll have a look at how I did in Game Week 30, at my transfer plans going forward. I'll kind of touch on the essential players I think to own in FPL at the moment, and then we'll look how I'm shaping up ahead of Game Week 31. If you enjoy these videos, then please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, but without further ado, let's jump into it. So, Game Week 30 was pretty disappointing, to be honest. 54 points. It was a big red arrow down to 90k. I mean, there was a couple of big reasons for that. Gordon is sort of borderline my differential. I don't know how well owned he is in the kind of top 100k. And obviously, 3 assists in that game was absolutely fantastic. And then to pick up a red card in the last minute of the game was really disappointing. I watched the first half of the Liverpool-Brighton game before heading down to the Etihad to watch this City game, and Mo Salah should have scored a couple in that. Really, it was very threatening. I'm glad he got his goal in the second half, not necessarily from a football point of view, but from an FPL point of view. So 7 points from captaincy, nothing from Garnacho, and then Palmer easily justified the hit for me to bring him in with 15. So yeah, we're sitting pretty off the midfield, but it was the defence that really let me down, and in particular because Arsenal obviously kept a clean sheet. I benched my double Arsenal defence. I mean, I also benched Saka for Garnacho in the end. It was kind of on an upside idea. I couldn't see Saka getting more than one attacking return at the Etihad, whereas Garnacho I thought had the potential against a Brentford team to who have been really poor recently. They're on a really poor run of form, but Brentford bossed that game. I watched the second half of that game actually, and yeah, United were very lucky to get away with a point in it, but great drama at the end. Good to watch. But yeah, benching the Arsenal defenders, who I think a lot of people would have played because of either injuries or sort of lack of better options in their defence. And I didn't mind my defence. I wasn't totally confident of clean sheets. I thought maybe from Bournemouth. Maguire, I thought would either start or not play at all, and he came off the bench, so it got me just 1 point. Pedro Porro, no attacking returns. He keeps looking threatening, but the points aren't there at the minute, and he's a chunk of my budget for just getting 2 pointers. One to think about there, and Dubravka in goal. I've said it before. I just need to not pick Dubravka. That Newcastle defense does not look capable of keeping clean sheets, and yeah, even more injuries in there now. Botman ruled out. Lascelles comes into the team. Does his ACL. He's out for 6 to 9 months. It's really unlucky for them, but yeah, from an FPL point of view, I think the Newcastle defense is just an avoid at the moment. Onto the attack. Solanke getting his goal for 7 points. Watkins goes off at half time. I think everybody's got injury problems at the moment. I will kind of touch on that, but yeah, Watkins, I kind of wish I knew whether it was likely to be serious or not. Like it didn't sound like anybody saw anything during the first half to suggest a reason as to why he went off. Apparently it's his hamstring, but I get the feeling if he just felt a bit of tightness against a Wolves team that, they were already 1-0 up against, they maybe just didn't want to risk it with Man City midweek. So I'm hoping Watkins will be fine, but it's unlikely we're going to get any sort of news beforehand. So it's taking a punt either way. And Haaland, I keep beating the drum for holding on to Haaland, but it's difficult. He's out of form and he's in a City team that aren't creating as many chances as they did last season or even earlier on in the season. I just think that he doesn't provide enough kind of overall that he's ever likely to pick up bonus points or get many assists or things like that. You're entirely relying on him for his goal output. He's such a good finisher that I'm so reluctant to go without him. And yeah, after they've just played Liverpool and Arsenal, and after that the fixtures look pretty nice. So I'm hoping the Haaland hold is gonna come good. But at the moment it's kind of difficult to justify keeping hold of him. But really, I've sort of given myself with no option but to do that because I can't really invest that money. I can't take him out now and invest that money across the team, spread those funds and make it worthwhile, I think, for me. So yeah, disappointing. Big red arrow. I actually don't think the team is too badly set up. I quite like my squad. I was glad I took the hit. I think my team would have looked considerably worse. I mean, I would have sold Gordon, I think, to get in Salah. Ross Barkley got an assist who I sold, but would have had Ross Barkley and Foden in there. Would have got rid of Gordon. Wouldn't have had his points. I wouldn't have had Cole Palmer's points. So yeah, we're looking pretty, I think, going forward. But yeah, Gordon is a big miss. I held him in particular because of his next two fixtures. So yeah, without having him for next week's home game against Everton, it does make him an easier sell. But let's have a look at what my transfer plans are going into next week. So I just mentioned Anthony Gordon, and I'm not going to sell Gordon, even though it is kind of tempting because looking at his fixtures, it was the week that's just finished and next week that I really fancied him getting good points. He's so good at home. So with him missing that and then an away fixture after, I think you can reasonably consider selling him. There's no double for him in 34. So in my own plans, I thought that he would go before week 34 anyway. The reason I've decided to keep him is that I quite often use FPL teams and I have a look at how I would set my team out for the next like couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Um, because if you're looking at bringing somebody in and then you realize that if you've got no injuries in your team, you're never going to play them, they're just going to sit first on your bench every single week, then that isn't a worthwhile transfer in my mind unless you're bringing them in to free up funds. Gordon isn't someone I have to free up funds. I think he's a great option. And the person that I would bring in for him this week, I don't think any of them are better options than Gordon. Eze's the one I'm most looking at. He has the double. He's got tough fixtures running up to it, admittedly, but then really good fixtures after. So Eze's someone I wouldn't mind in my team, but I don't think he's a good option as Gordon. So I don't think it's worth that transfer. He would just be benched every single week, essentially. So the options that I am considering, and the first one is the most likely, which is to just roll the transfer. The reason for that is that I think I kind of laid out how I want my team to look in game week 34, and there's a lot of kind of similar-ish possibilities. A lot of them are kind of dependent on injury as well. Like, for example, I'd rather have Elise over Eze, but I need Elise to be back fit. I've not heard any sort of update, so I've no idea if he's going to be back next week or at the end of the season. Who knows? It's kind of similar with the Wolves midfielders. It sounds like Cunha as a striking option is going to be back soon, but Neto and He-Chan, I don't know about. I haven't heard a huge amount of news. It sounds like He-Chan's closer than Neto, but I don't know whether they're going to be in contention for game week 34. So I'd rather have a week's more knowledge, I think, um, and then base a transfer off of that. Now, the only one that I would consider in midfield is Garnacho out to Eze. Now, simply, I'm looking at benching Garnacho pretty much every week. He'll have to play next week because of Gordon's suspension, but after that, he will be benched for Eze. The reason that I don't like that is the Elise factor. If Elise was back, and I think it's unlikely because we haven't heard any suggestion that he will be, but if he was, I would go Elise over Garnacho. And if I bring in Eze now, then I'm stuck with Eze. Also, I'm probably going to bench them every week anyway. Like Eze will play this week and then he'd just be benched every week until game week 34. So I don't really need to make that transfer now. I think they've got quite similar fixtures in terms of difficulty. They're both away from home. United have got Chelsea, which Chelsea are a pretty hard team to read, but then in fairness, so are Man United. So who knows what we'll get there. And Crystal Palace away to Bournemouth. Bournemouth, I think, have been quite good recently. So yeah, I don't know which I prefer out of those ones. So I don't think I'll probably make that transfer. I slightly prefer Eze because I'm not sure about the United attack at all. It seemed like it was firing for a couple of weeks and then Højlund got injured and they haven't really come back from it, aside from one really good game against United in the FA Cup. So I don't know. Probably not going to make that transfer, but it's the only real midfield one that I'm considering. Now, one that is more likely, I would say, is Watkins to Darwin. Now, again, I don't like it so much because I would have to commit to Darwin as my kind of Liverpool attacker. I'm thinking before 34, I've already got Salah. I want to get one Liverpool defender, ideally Trent if he's back fit and firing, and then another Liverpool attacker. At the moment, Darwin's my favourite, but by game week 34, I don't know if that'll still be true. Luis Diaz, I think, is a decent option. Jota, I think, if he was back fit, is my favourite out of those players, but I don't know about his minutes anyway, so it's risky that one. The thing that I would love is some news on Watkins, and I don't think I'm going to get it. The problem that I have is because I have Gordon suspended, if Watkins misses out, it's one of my defenders who comes in for him, and that is why I'm tempted to take a punt on Darwin, because even though Villa have got City, which is a tough game, I'd still rather have Watkins in there than have to play a Maguire or a Branthwaite. So I'd love it if I got some news beforehand, even if it's just rumours about Ollie Watkins. It'll help make my decision, but I'm probably 60-40 in terms of rolling at the moment, but I think I could easily change on that one. So this is how the team is shaping up ahead of game week 31. Ray will be back in goal for me. Not a bad fixture for Everton. Sorry, for Newcastle against Everton, but Dubravka's going to be on my bench. Ray will come straight in. Also be doubling up on the Arsenal defence with Gabriel there. Pedro Porro against West Ham. It's another one where I'm kind of hoping for attacking returns because I think that Tottenham will probably concede in that game, but Porro's due a goal. I'm telling you now, he's not had a goal yet this season, and he's looked so threatening. A goal's coming. This might be the week. Touch wood. Don't know if I'm just fooling myself there. And Zabani, I brought in for his double, in which he miraculously got a goal. Apparently, his first goal in about 3 years, but there was no clean sheet. Didn't get a clean sheet last week. Has another good fixture this week against Crystal Palace at home. Finally, a clean sheet there. Not overly confident, I'll be honest, but I prefer it to the two away fixtures for Branthwaite and Maguire. Who knows who get picked at centre back for United as well. It's kind of who's fit at the moment. I don't know whether Maguire's fit enough for 90 minutes at the moment or whether they really have any other options. So, yeah, don't love it. I think both of those will concede. So, Zabani, yeah, touch wood for a clean sheet there. The midfield Garnacho is going to come into my team because of Gordon. I don't love it either, but I think I read that Chelsea have kept two clean sheets this season in the league, so there'll be goals in that game, I'm sure. And yeah, let's hope that Garnacho's involved with them. He came off early, didn't even get his 60-minute two-pointer in the last game, but he had travelled back from playing away with Argentina, and he didn't have a lot of rest time. He looked tired in that game essentially. So hopefully a couple of days extra rest will do him some good. Mo Salah against Sheffield United is a lovely game. I think if you don't own Salah, then I think last week you probably got away with it a little bit. I think it really would have helped my rank if Salah had really hauled. But against Sheffield United, the worst defence in the league, home fixture for Liverpool. I've just got to touch wood and play and hope that Salah starts because I think he'll be really in with the goals in that one. Salah does tend to just play every single game when fit. He's already been injured this season, which is a rarity. He's already missed more than you would expect him to miss. So yeah, I think he'll probably start. And at the moment, he's got the captain's armband. Can't see myself changing my mind on that one. Saka against Luton. Again, love to get some injury news. Not even yellow flagged at the moment, but it sounded like he went off with a bit of a knock, or at least he's kind of been nursing one. So, yeah, again, I'd love an update on that, but I don't think we'll get it. And Palmer, same as Salah, he's looking pretty essential at the moment. I kind of wish I'd just captained him last week because I threw the vice captaincy on him, and I did think I could fully differential this and just throw the captaincy on him. I'm not really tempted to do that against United, despite the fact that they've got loads of injuries. They are a better defence well, they're a top half defence comfortably. It's scoring goals that they've been struggling with, but yeah, let's see. I think Palmer is got a good chance of getting a return in that one. And then strikers, again, I like. It's only Ollie Watkins that I'm not so sure about. Villa, I think, have been a bit more open recently, partly because of the injuries that they've had. I think Kamara's a huge miss in midfield, just shielding that defence. And yeah, Haaland, he doesn't usually go on runs of games without a goal. He's definitely a little off it at the moment, but in that patch of being off it, he also scored 5 against Luton in the Cup. So I don't think he's miles off at the moment. And then Dominic Solanke, Crystal Palace at home. It's a nice fixture. He has just been very consistent for me. He doesn't get a huge amount of massive hauls, but he just gets kind of consistent returns. He gets 1 goal, 1 assist. He's on penalties for them. So, yeah, really good option, I think. And yeah, hopefully will do the business for me next week. So that's it for my team selection ahead of game week 31. Let me know in the comments what you think of my potential changes. I think I'm leaning towards rolling. I think the extra week of information will help me going forward, even though it might hinder me a little bit for next week. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think anyway. If you've been enjoying these videos, then please do subscribe to the channel. But thanks for watching. I'll leave it there and I'll catch you on another video.